Hello, everybody. Hello, Erudita. Hello, chat. Welcome into our second monthly Breezy interview. And this time we have one of the, let's say, long standing co
There you
working
go.
streamers. There you go. Long standing co working streamers. You know her as Sarah. She is a wonderful, wonderful person. And she's here with us. She allowed us to interview her. So welcome. Come on, guys. A warm welcome for Sarah. Hi, Sarah. How are
Hello,
you?
hello. Hello, Wild. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
We are very happy to have you here. So the breezy interviews have been like an idea for us to kind of explore, like um, not just like strictly education, because that is kind of the idea behind Erudita, but also kind of get to know people that our community members might be interested in, getting to know their stories, their journeys, and stuff like that. So, um,
Totally excited. Hi, everyone.
hello, hello. All right. So, Sarah, I think
Yes.
you have been streaming for about 2 years, I believe. I joined Twitch in 2021, and I
Wow.
remember sometime in the maybe around August, September, I started following you, I think, or maybe it was October. I'm not entirely sure, but it was still 2021 when I followed you. So I was like, this is great. Like, I know like some people started doing this as a way to manage their time during the pandemic. It's like, I don't want to work alone anymore.
Mm-hmm.
This is boring. This is low. Some people would actually say this is lonely. So,
Mm,
what's it like for you to still be streaming
yeah.
like regularly? I still see alerts from you like, oh, Sarah's live again. Nice.
I mean, that's one of the things that I take pride in, I think. Like from the beginning,
Hmm.
my schedule was Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. And
Yeah.
to this day, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. And I don't know if I've taken many breaks. I mean, that's one of my faults. I feel like I should take more breaks. But um like that's one of my things is I'm very consistent. I mean, I'm working every day, and
Hmm.
my work schedule um kind of suits my stream schedule. My off stream days are days that I do my meetings and I have like a
Hmm.
very kind of I need to be, with my people, with my teammates.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm doing pomodoros, like I'm doing focus sessions, um, and it keeps me going. And really, it's like the people. I think the
Hmm.
co-working community on Twitch is just very usually very wholesome, and yeah, it's just like I want to support them. I want to celebrate them. They support me and celebrate me. So yeah, it's just it's good energy.
Yeah. Like I did start off Twitch just randomly joining because a person I used to follow on TikTok, I'm not on TikTok anymore, um, also does co-working streams. I'm like, what's
Oh.
that? What's that? Like, what? I wonder what that is. Like,
Yep.
um, I did, I think, encounter one Pomo streamer from back in the day in YouTube, but that's a long time ago. And then
Yes,
I
right.
realized, oh, hey, it also exists on Twitch. Nice. So yeah, I
Mm.
started off there, and then I met that person is Medical Quackery. He hasn't streamed like
Okay,
regularly in a
okay.
long time because I think he's a doctor now. Great for him. And
Yeah.
then so many others like one co-working streamer I used to follow is no longer a co-working streamer. He's like a variety streamer now. So things change and
Mm.
it's just amazing to see
Totally.
you have been consistent with it. Like a few of the other co-working streamers are either new or they take long
Yeah.
breaks because of the nature of their work now. Like
Yeah.
after the pandemic, like the world opened up again. Like 2021, it was still pandemic times and a lot of places were still closed off. You can't really leave the house.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I've been working remotely like long before the pandemic.
Hmm.
So like it's something where this was my life and then I started streaming and so like I kind of saw people transition into a lifestyle more similar to mine, where it's like more
Hmm.
online and
Yeah.
um, less structured. And so, yeah, it's just kind of an interesting being kind of an observer and all that.
Yeah, it's amazing to see like the changes that the pandemic brought. Amazing might not be the word most people would use, but
Yeah.
hey,
I mean, change is good.
yeah.
Anything that I think like forces you to rethink, like, am I doing things optimally for myself? Am I
Mhm.
doing things to suit myself? Like, I think it's good.
Yep. Okay.
Let's
And
do it.
we know you are like you have been working remotely for a while. Could you tell us like how long, like before the pandemic, before
Yeah.
everyone was forced to do it, how long have you
Okay.
been working remotely?
Yeah, so my company, I launched my company in 2017.
Hmm.
So just I quit my full-time job a few months before that,
Mhm.
uh, launched the company in 2017, and then from that point on, I was fully remote. I was just building my company.
Mhm.
And then when was lockdown? It was 2020?
20? Yeah, yeah, around March 2020, I think.
Yeah, March 2020. So I've been working remotely for a few years before all of that happened. And yeah, for me, it was kind of just like life as usual. Like it was like we go outside less. But in terms of work, it was like, I
This
didn't
is
have
my
to like
normal.
suddenly stop going to the office or anything like that. It was just like,
Meh.
okay,
It's like,
yeah,
yeah, this is normal.
yeah, this is
Uh,
fine.
Other than outside is like the world is burning, quote unquote.
Exactly, yeah.
Feels normal.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
It's nice that your work was never interrupted in a way when the pandemic
Yeah.
started because I was still working in a
Mm,
company that still required us to
mm,
go in. So I was like, I did not have work for like 2 weeks until they finally
yeah.
decided, you know what, this isn't gonna end anytime soon. Here are
Right.
your PCs, work at home. Just make
Right.
sure you have good internet. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it didn't affect me personally, I would say, but
Hmm.
then I definitely saw it reflected in like our customers because everyone was freaking out. Everyone was like, what is going on? Where are we going to be? How long is this going to last? And so we definitely felt it as a company.
Hmm.
But in terms of like our day-to-day lives, I would say that didn't change that much.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
good because sometimes, yeah, of course, change is great, but sometimes
Mm,
sudden, like if the change is too
yeah.
sudden, no
Yeah.
preparation, it's like
Yeah.
so. I I know some people are sensitive to the word, but it's like suicide when you're doing that. I'm like unprepared, absolutely nothing. You feel like you're dying,
Yeah.
which is understandable. It's
Yeah. Totally.
and it's just ugh. All right. So
Yeah.
before we go into more questions about your company,
Yeah.
because I do have a lot of questions there.
Let's
I
do
want
it.
to kind of just maybe go into something a little not too personal, but a little personal. Like, what was it
Let's
like
go.
growing up with parents who are also business people? Like, I know you've mentioned this, I believe, in your
Mhm.
podcast as well. Your parents were
Mhm.
building a business when you were young. So, how was
Yeah.
that like for you?
Yeah, I mean like, I don't know how many memories I have growing up, but like what I do remember is just how I guess small of a business that he had. Like my dad was very intentional. He owned an optical, so he sold like glasses,
Hmm.
and he worked with my uncle, his brother, who is an eye doctor. And
Oh, okay.
so they were like good partners. It just made sense, get your eyes checked, get your glasses.
Yes,
And I
one
remember like,
store.
yes, yes, my dad was very, and my uncle too, like they're both very intentional about keeping their businesses like very small. Like my dad never hired a single person.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
my mom worked with him, but there was they never hired a single person. They never did sales. It was always like, this is the price. So that's interesting. I mean, as a kid, it was just like, oh, okay, we're going to the office today. And it would just be us going to work with my dad, and we would sit in the back and like watch Disney movies like all day. um, but I guess like what I didn't get was, him coming back from like a hard day at work with like coworkers. And like I never heard those kind of stories.
Mhm.
Um, it was very much like he's doing his own thing, he's running his own shop, and that was cool, like he's running his own life. But obviously, like there's hard parts to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like pros and cons to everything. But that's what I remember anyway as a kid.
I think that's a lot more happy memories as a child with a busy
Yeah.
dad. In unlike some people who have businesses and their fathers are like,
Yeah.
"Where's dad? Is he
Yeah.
home?" which is
Yeah.
which is
I
great for you.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure he sheltered us from a lot of like the struggles.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not easy, and I'm sure like
Mm,
he had low points and high points, but like I don't
mm.
think he ever revealed that to us. As kids, it was just like, okay, he's going to work, he's coming home, all is good. Yeah, I should ask him about that.
Well, now that you're a business owner yourself, like,
Yeah.
hey, dad, what was it like?
Right. I mean, it's so different because
Mhm.
like we've hired people, we have done discounts and stuff. Like, so I feel like it's like he he ran his business very differently than I do. And of course, like
Mm,
now we're in like this online world where he was very much offline.
mhm.
Um, like of course there's just stuff that is inherently different in that. Um, but yeah, I think it's like that entrepreneurial spirit I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
probably got from him, right? Yeah.
I believe that. Like, you went into
Yeah.
a business. Sure, it's a different kind of
Yes.
business, but it's still a
Yes.
business. Your dad also had a
Yes.
business. Like,
Mm.
it's funny, like when you said that your family is in optics, your uncle was an eye doctor. It just
Yeah.
reminded me that job that I still had during the pandemic was under an insurance. I was technically a
Yeah.
customer support, basically, over the phone, for an
Yeah.
insurance for
Fun.
eyeglasses and dental work.
Ah. Okay.
So I knew what cones and rods, like normal cones and rods, look like.
Oh.
When you said that your uncle was an eye doctor, I was like, oh, I was hit with all of the images of a weird eye,
Yeah.
like eyes that needed this specific of, okay, great.
Yep, I've seen that too.
It's like we didn't study this, but hey, this is familiar ground.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of cool, but like I don't think I need to be in that world.
Mm. Like,
Yeah.
not gonna go back to that. But hey, at
Yeah,
least if you
exactly.
if you have problems with your eyes, I'm like,
Yes.
hey, uncle,
Hey, uncle.
maybe I kind of need something.
Yes, totally.
Maybe a family discount. Kidding, kidding.
100%.
Oh
Obvious.
wow. Okay. Like I know some families would be absolutely okay with a family discount, but then some families are
Yeah.
also like,
Oh yeah.
you're already
Family's weird.
family anyway. No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no support. Oh my god. Like, but yeah.
Yeah.
You also mentioned in your podcast, like you grew up with your grandparents. How was that like?
Yes. You know what? I think growing up with my grandparents really enabled my dad to start his business, right? Because starting
Okay.
your business is like so, there's so you need to put all of yourself into it.
Mm.
And I'm one of three. I have two siblings, and he started the business I think just after I was born.
Oh, you were
So,
tiny. Okay.
yeah, so I was like he had three kids. My mom was at home. My grandparents basically raised us, right? And I think that really helped my dad get like be able to focus on work and like get it off the ground.
Mhm.
um and yeah, like I will always appreciate and like be close to my grandparents for that reason, and I appreciate that. I mean, I think growing up it was kind of like, why do we live with our grandparents? Like it's not that common.
Mhm.
um but watching it now, it's like, I appreciate that, and I can totally understand, like as an entrepreneur now, like if I were to have kids, I don't know how I would handle like trying to raise kids and do this business. Like
Mhm.
that seems
Mm.
impossible.
Like, the question would be like, I wonder if my dad would be willing to take care of my kids while I make my business.
Right. I mean,
Hey,
maybe like they're
maybe.
retired now, so it's like, okay, like
Oh,
I'm
that's
free now, so maybe that's the other side. But yeah, like I can totally like appreciate my grandparents for being able to enable my dad and like just
Mhm.
enable like the life that we have now.
Yeah,
So yeah, and it was a very comfy childhood. Like I
that's good.
feel
That's
like
good.
I had no issues growing up. I'm
That's
blessed.
oh, that is very beautiful because not not judging the kind of it am
Yeah.
as some people just really grew up with the short end of the stick in
Oh,
that same
totally.
situation, and you guys
Totally.
are, I'm just so happy for you that you saw the good in all of it, and you got
Yeah.
good experience from all of that. Like
Yeah.
sometimes life can have like can throw you a curveball, but
Oh,
I'm
totally.
happy that you got like the best out of it, which is great.
Yeah. I mean, I think we would have struggled a lot if my dad was
Mhm.
on his own and like we had to,
Yeah.
pay rent and all this stuff. While like, when you start a company, you're probably making no money.
Mhm.
And for in his
Well,
situation, he's probably investing a lot in starting the business in the first place.
yeah.
So like that part is always like really push.
Yep. You did
Yeah.
mention money. I'm like, no, and I, since I worked with insurance with eye doctors
Mm-hmm.
and dentists, I know how expensive, although this is in a different country, the insurance is under a different country, but still,
Mm-hmm.
eye services are still very expensive, even though for others, it's like, hey, you guys can see without paying for your eyes. It's like a necessity for some people. Like I've seen little kids that have glasses that are about
Yes.
this thick. I'm like,
Yes.
Jesus Christ, how much would
Yeah.
that be? How much would it cost to test the child, to
Yeah.
measure, like once you get the measurements,
Yeah.
the actual material, and your father had to like make a brick and mortar business that would, and then you have to invest in the material to make it.
Yep. Material costs, rent.
Yes. Yeah, especially if you don't own the building or you can't make
Mhm.
it in your own home. Because I know some people are lucky that they have like their own like place that's big enough to host their own business.
Yeah.
And the fact that he never had an expense in hiring people, like it was just him and his brother. That's amazing to me
Yeah.
because honestly, sure, it's they kept it small, but like I'm sure some people would have said, "Hey, why don't you invest in something making sure it's bigger, like
Yeah.
growing it. Like isn't that a good thing for
Yeah.
business growth? Did
Yeah. I
did that
think
ever come up?"
I think potentially he's just a very stubborn person. And I feel like I get that from him.
Nice.
It's like I want to do it my way. And if I brought someone in, like I feel like I could hear him saying, if I brought someone in, like they would change the business and they wouldn't do things how I would want to do things and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. So I feel like it's partly that. But then obviously, like you need to pay this person, and that just affects your bottom line and how much you make at the end of the day. And
Mhm.
I don't know his finances, but like I don't know if he ever got to that place where he was like, okay, like I'm confident, like let's move, because his business was in a small part of town. It's like it's you it's not like it's explosive.
Yeah.
So I think he was just comfortable with keeping it small and like under his own control, like everything is him or my mom, and yeah, they were just happy that way.
And I
Yeah.
think they just really wanted to make sure that they had enough to support you three kids, I believe. I want to
Mm,
believe that all parents are like that. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
I'm,
they,
I'm
they
sure.
want to
I'm sure.
do this for their kids. Oh, of
Totally.
course, for themselves too. Like, if they don't take care of themselves, how the hell are they going to take care of children?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, so not knowing how you were raised by your grandparents,
Hmm.
but also still having like a really good relationship and also really good memories with your dad while they were your
Yeah.
parents while they were working. How was it like in school?
Yeah.
Growing up like that.
Yeah. School is kind of a whirlwind, I would say. I mean, I think um, I was always like I need to get good grades student.
Mhm.
Um, I need to achieve. I need to be like one of the smartest kids. I don't know what puts that in me, but I needed to be that person.
Mhm.
So I was always like, doing the math and the sciences, and like now I'm thinking about, it, I'm like, ugh, like I don't Like that's not what I'm interested in. Like I always had this underlying interest in in the creative side of things, like doing
Hmm.
art and music and whatnot. And I don't know, like because like I don't know, for some reason I feel like doing school properly was like getting good grades in math and getting good grades in science and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was always that person. Um, but thankfully, near the end of my high school
Hmm.
experience, I was like, huh, like, do I want to do math for the rest of my life? Like,
Hmm.
is this what life is? Um, and finally looking into like potentially what I could do with my life and being practical at the same time, like, okay,
Yeah.
I also need to live, so like where can I make money? um and realizing that there are creative careers where you can earn a living. And all of a sudden I was like, screw math, screw science, like let me get rid of all of these classes and take all my art classes. And like
Hmm.
that's kind of when I was like, okay, like this makes sense to me, like I can see what I want to do as an adult.
Uh-huh.
um so yeah, it's really about like exposing yourself, I think, to what's out there, because like you don't know until you know. And for a long time I was like, I'm going to be an accountant, and like if I was doing accounting today I would be not happy. you
Well,
know so yeah.
I'm sure there are happy accountants.
Oh, I'm
Just,
sure,
just, say,
like to
just
each
saying.
their own. To
To
each
each
their own.
their
Like this
own.
was completely, like for me personally it was like I cannot see myself doing that. um
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Sorry.
No, no, it's fine. It's just really funny to me because some people
Yeah,
say that when you go into the arts, there's no money there.
I know.
It depends. Like it definitely
It
depends
very much.
on
Yeah.
on the person,
Hmm.
how they're gonna look for potential
Yeah,
earners.
it's the starving artist, like I don't know, the
Yeah.
like
It's a
image. And
stereotype.
that's
Yeah.
like it. Yeah, it's so you can do what you set your mind to do. It's so cheesy, but like there are so like very many like creative careers where you can uh like be creative if that's your thing, and still earn and be happy with what you're doing.
Which is like that is great. Like I know when okay, I, like I said, when I was watching your streams, I wasn't watching. I was more
Yeah,
of
yeah,
just
yeah.
doing my own thing. Like I have
Sure, sure,
you
sure, sure.
like lurking. I was lurking. Basically, I'm a
Yeah,
serial lurker in most people's
that's
streams.
totally fine.
So I'm like, I know you. I know your face. I know your name,
Uh-huh.
Sarah. That's it.
Yeah,
So I was like,
yeah.
my, and I'm sorry. I This was my assumption from the at the start. You were in, if not accounting, if not accounting, you were at least in the academics.
Yeah.
That's why
Okay, okay.
when I went into your podcast to learn more about you for this interview, I was like, oh, you dumb ass. you went you went you went the stereotypical, oh, she's an Asian in a Western world.
Oh,
What
totally.
will she be?
Totally. I mean, yeah, that's like first assumption. Like that's totally reasonable. But no, like I mean, that's the path that I went. I was like, we're taught that. Like my
Yeah.
school was like, oh, science and math. Like if
Yes.
you are doing anything in life, you're doing science and math. And like the art, when I switched to art, it was like there was nobody in class. Or it was just like, oh, the people who like don't care and like just want to get the credit. Right. And so it's
Okay.
that's just that's society, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly so, because
Yeah.
um they've romanticized the starving artist for far too long.
Mm.
It does need to change, but I'm so glad that when I finally, got to know you better, I will
Yeah.
say, I will use that. I got to know you better through
Yeah.
your podcast and watching a few more of your streams and actually paying attention. I was like, oh wait, oh, oh, okay. She did not want to go into the maths and the sciences because it's
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
boring. Okay,
For me.
yeah, of course, for you. Like, like not
Yeah.
everyone would find like some people. My best
Yeah.
friend absolutely loves math. His
Yeah.
password, even to the game we both love to play, is a math equation. So I had to learn that math equation to remember his password because once in a while I would log
Cannot be
into his
me
account.
for sure.
I'm like, okay, sure. But he does like one specific performance art, which is singing, and
Yeah,
he's great at it. But other art,
amazing.
he's like, nah, nah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, like I don't know, you have to discover yourself.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
and
hopefully that's what school helps you do.
went to a great school. I'm just gonna say you went to a
Yeah.
great school. You had the chance,
Yeah.
or they gave you the chance. You saw
Yes.
it, you grabbed it.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. That's part of it. Yeah. I mean, yes, like I am fortunate enough to have gone into a good school system, but at the same time, you have to be motivated and like uh, go get it for yourself
Hmm.
because nobody's going to baby you. So yeah.
Well, maybe when you are really little, sure, maybe, but come on,
When you're an actual baby, yes.
for like, right. So, um, when you finally decided, you said it's about high school. When you finally decided, oh
Hmm.
wait, you know what? I can actually
Yeah.
go into art, still
Yeah.
earn money, and live.
Yes.
Um, did you ever like want to work in a like a giant, maybe not a giant, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a big company, like
Yeah.
animation studios type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think my first spark as like growing up was
Mm.
film.
Ooh.
I really enjoyed like video editing and like that side of creativity.
Mm.
Um and that's how I kind of like broke into like the more creative side and started, trying to do
Yeah.
artsy things. And so like the Disneys and the Pixars were always just like, oh my god, like
This is
gold
amazing.
star, like my north star, like guide me somehow to get to this job. And still to this day, like I think it'd be so cool to work there. um but for whatever reason, like just because of like the opportunities that I had in school and like growing up in Canada is like it's like I'm not in Hollywood. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
like easy access to those things.
Yeah.
I ended up being turned into graphic design,
Hmm. Still
which is a
close.
very very practical career, like very
Yes.
you can make a very good living as a graphic designer. And I ended up doing kind of like a co-op in high school with
Hmm.
this graphic design, like this solo graphic designer. I worked in his basement
Oh God.
as his like intern. It's so
Okay.
sketchy. I don't know what the heck I was thinking, but like I did it. I like took the bus to his house, worked in his basement on graphic design stuff, and it could have been really bad, but it was really good. Like I still, am very thankful to him for helping me, get started.
Yeah.
Uh but yeah, like you just kind of need to go and try things. And so I ended up going down this graphic design path. And yeah, like I don't know, I think and doing animation would have been amazing. And I um like being realistic, I don't think I have the actual like artistic talent to do that. But that was what like really like cracked it open for me and was like, okay, I think I can do something creative.
This is practical but
Um
still creative.
yes, which I very much like about design. Like I'm a very like I try to be a very like practical person, but still have that creative
Freedom.
edge to it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing like following a few graphic designers on Instagram when I
Hmm.
just came back to Instagram. It was like there there's a practicality to their art. It's not like they're just artists. They
Yes.
are artists.
Yes.
They are
Yes.
artists, and I believe that
Yeah.
as a graphic designer, you are an artist. There's you have a more practical approach to it that
Yeah.
you're given, say you're working for a client, you're given
Hmm.
an idea, you're given
Yeah.
something. They can't,
Yeah.
sometimes they themselves, or the people who are your clients, can't even put to words what they're trying to do, and you just have
Sure.
to
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It's more goal oriented, I
here.
would say.
Mm,
And like it's, you're trying to market something or you're trying
mhm.
to, attract people to an event or, whatnot. You're trying to package something, whatever it is, like there's a little more like purpose, I would say,
Yeah.
um, to what you're designing. And so that really attracted me too. Like there was that side and the like creative side.
Hmm. Okay, so like, yeah, you have a purpose.
Yeah.
You have to be practical with it because,
Yes.
hey, you only have like a limited space to work on, or a
Hmm.
theme that's very specific, but also
Yeah.
your client wants it to be like all encompassing. Like, how how are you gonna make it happen?
Yeah.
Or they want a logo. Have you ever worked on logos or something like?
Yeah, I'm not like very professionally, I would say. Like for all the products that I've built in my life, like I do the
Mhm.
logos for.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but it's not, I would say it's not like my logo craft is not like perfect for sure.
Okay. I like the honesty. Like some people would be
Thank
absolutely
you.
like, yeah, I'm great at that.
Eh,
And then when you see their product, you're like, next, next.
yeah, yeah. Like there's so many little pieces. Like you can specialize in logo design. You can specialize in packaging. You can specialize in um, like web. You can specialize in motion, whatever it is. Like even if you say graphic design, like there's so many different avenues and specialties that you can go into. Um,
And
yeah.
that I never realized until I actually paid attention to a specific graphic logo designer.
Hmm.
I think he's specifically a logo or
Yeah.
monogram designer because
Yeah.
he would he would critique like existing logos or his or he would, if his
Mm-mm.
clients allow it, he would discuss the client's ideas in his
Right. The
posts, and
process.
like how he came up with the best three that the client would choose
Yeah.
from.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you also have to be very like, so they already gave you their idea, for example, but you also have to be able to present what you've
Oh,
made
totally.
to them, and you have to like justify why you did this compared to
Definitely.
this, and then this one is like, how is it different, why is it
Mm-hmm.
different, like why
Mm-hmm.
are you giving them the option when you just, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I think that's a skill you need in like every job, like being able to sell yourself and sell your work, being able to present it and justify, decisions that you've made. Um, like that's a separate skill in itself. And something that school should teach us, but like I don't know,
Mhm.
I don't know. Teach me to do my taxes, teach me something practical. I don't know. um, yeah, I think that like it's a skill. It's something you should practice, and it's something that will help you. I think with your
I love how this, maybe despite is not the best way to put it, but let me just use that because I can't think of another word. Despite being in the arts, you are one of
hmm
the most practical people I've ever met. Like,
Thank you.
yeah, because um, again, the stereotype is a starving artist, which isn't
Yeah,
pretty, but I don't know how it became a stereotype for the past 100 or so years. Maybe not 100, but a long time.
a long time.
Yeah. So you just practically grabbing onto the opportunity to earn and still be creative is just great, because sometimes people want something but then they realize, how am I going to live, even if it's not
hmm
creative, even if it's something else. It's just
hmm
kind of sad. And hey guys,
Yeah.
try to subscribe to Sarah's Patreon, and you can get her
Thank you.
podcasts, and they are very helpful. They're creative. Even her podcasts are creative, but they're also very helpful.
Thank
Yes.
you. It's mostly a brain dump
Promote.
of like what I just what I think and like what I do on a day-to-day basis. Like I wanted something to uh, document my life. I can
Yeah, yeah.
imagine like looking back on it in like, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years, whatever, and being like, oh, this is what I was doing.
It was like a diary. It's an
Yeah.
audio diary.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
some people
Exactly.
have video diaries, some people have
Yeah.
actual written diaries, some people have
Yes.
like scrapbooks.
Yes.
I tried all of those. None of them stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Audio for me is the easiest. Just
Oh,
like brain
really?
dump and just talk to
Oh, okay.
people. Yeah. So it's been good. But yeah, I think I've always been like a fairly practical person. But at the same time, I think like part of being an entrepreneur is being able to take risks and like
Mhm.
the being comfortable but still going for it. And so there's like it shakes up the practical side of me a little bit because it's so uncertain. Like
Mhm.
you don't know how it's going to turn out. um but it's also rewarding when it does work out.
Yes, like when you finally actually feel like, oh, I'm at my end at my current goal. I've reached one of my goals, and it's like, oh hell yeah, what's next?
Mm.
It
Yeah.
motivates you to move into what's next,
Yeah,
which also
yeah.
moves me into our next question. I tried to make that smoother, but
Smooth.
okay. So before, uh, before you created your company, because I know
Hmm.
you've already mentioned you have a company of your own. You're working in
Hmm.
your company. Um, what was what kind of jobs did you get? Like
Yeah.
right right after? Like I know you interned with a graphic designer in his basement. Questionable, but still,
Yeah.
it was a good thing. What
I'm
came
alive.
after that?
Yeah, so that was high school, and that was great. Like, it showed me some real world experience, which was enough for me to be like, okay, I can do this for my career. Let me look at like what programs I can do
Hmm.
um, in graphic design. And
Yeah.
so I ended up going to graphic design school, and then from there, a lot of my friends were in co-op programs, um, which means that they, in between school terms, they were
Hmm.
doing like actual real life work for like 4 months, 3 months, whatever.
Hmm.
And that's so great because you can earn money at the same time and
Yeah.
like start paying off your student loans, but also get real world experience before you graduate, which I thought was so great. So one of the things for in my program was actually we had to do a mandatory internship co-op during in between our third and fourth year.
Hmm.
um, and for whatever reason, I know a lot of my friends ended up being engineers and working in Silicon Valley in the Bay Area.
Wow.
And I was like, in terms of graphic design, the niche that I was into, it was very much web. It was very much not like the logo with branding and packaging and whatnot, like the traditional, more traditional graphic design. It
Right.
was more the web side of things. And because I had done projects with my friends who are engineers, uh, it just really it made a lot of sense. So I ended up applying to a lot of big tech. I mean, like Google, Facebook, stuff like that, um, and ended up doing my first internship at Google, which is just like Disneyland. I mean, Facebook was the same too. Like I interned at both. Both of them were just like I don't know if you've seen the internship, the intern movie, which is literally about Google interns. Like that's kind of accurate. Like it was
Oh,
just like you do some work, but it's like they just feed you.
it's a
They feed you every
playground.
meal. Yeah, I think part of it is like they want to attract you back. And so, oh, I had such a good intern experience. I'll go back. Um, but for me, like I really wanted to see what like working there would be like, and it's a cool company. Like, don't get me wrong, like they're huge and they've done like really crazy things for us. I was working on Google Search, which is like
Wow.
Google, like Google is
The
search.
actual Google.
Um,
Yeah.
so that was really cool, but like I didn't end up shipping anything substantial, which I guess makes sense. Like they're not going to get an intern to like really make any change in Google search. But it didn't give me like a clear enough idea into what working at Google would be like.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was cool. It was cool. Like I had a good time. I like, met cool interns, like free food. It was like I was well paid, like cool.
Mm.
Um, but then Facebook hit me up and was like, "Hey, do you want to do an internship here too?" And I was like, "Okay." So I ended up doing four four like work stretches
Mm.
back to back, um, and and Facebook was similar. It was like Disneyland also. You get fed, but I also did a lot more work there. Like the company was a lot smaller when I interned there. I mean, it's still big, but it was a lot smaller than it is now.
Okay.
So yeah, it just gave me like real world experience, and showed me what it would be like to work there, which is why I ended up going back there after graduation. So
Oh,
I
nice.
worked there after graduating, and for me, like partly it was like I need to be well paid, because I have
Yep.
loans that I want to pay off,
Yep.
um, and uh, for me as like a Canadian small town, like I don't know, there's like not huge brand name Canadian startups. Like there's Shopify, but like there's not
That's
that
Canadian?
many. Shopify's Canadian,
Oh, I didn't know.
yeah. Yeah, like
Okay.
it was like a foot in the door, like stamp on my resume, like let me do
Yeah.
this for at least a year and be like, okay, cool, like I am legit enough to work at a big tech company.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. That's really like what it was for. Like,
Practical.
I remember, yeah, my first week there when I had my first one-on-one with my manager, I was like, one day I want to start my own company. And
Oh, okay.
I would like to do things here to prepare me for that. Uh, Long story short, working at a big company does not teach you how to start a small business. But it was good for like meeting people and like having that network
Networking?
of like
Yeah.
really smart people who several of them have gone on to start their own companies. Um, so yeah, like no regrets, but it working at Facebook will not teach you how to start a small business.
Which is kind of understandable because
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
it's a massive company. It's
Exactly. Yeah.
like it. But the good thing is network, and I'm glad
Yeah.
you were able to meet people. I'm sure somehow they were able to kind
Hmm.
of help when you were
My
when you were.
co-founder. I met my co-founder at Facebook.
There you go.
There you go.
That's one great thing. Like
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So, how long did you work in a like a regular work setting where you have to
Yeah.
you're employed in another company? How long was that?
Yeah. So after graduation, like was
Mm.
pretty much like, okay, let me do like I think I did a little grad trip and then I was like out to work. Um,
Mhm.
and so I stayed there. I wanted to stay at least a year because if
Mhm.
you work like 8 months, it's kind of like, what is this like little 8 month thing on your resume? It's like not substantial enough, I felt.
It
So I
wasn't
ended up
even long
staying
enough to have a baby.
exactly. So I stayed a year and a half.
Oh,
And
nice.
then was like, okay, cool. Like
Mhm.
I knew people at the company who had been there for coming up on 10 years or something. And I was like,
Oh,
that
nice.
I cannot. So I was out of there in a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so you were just a year and a half off of working
Yeah.
on Facebook, and
Yeah.
then you created your own company. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, we had like, I was kind of playing around with it on the side. Um, it was like a little side project, but it doesn't become anything substantial unless you like put a significant amount of time in it. So
Mhm.
after I quit my job at Facebook, it was like, okay, now I can like actually dedicate uh my working hours
Yeah.
to starting a company. So that's what we did. Yeah.
That was amazing. Like 1.5. Although you do have experience with internships, you're co-oping in
Yes.
between like
Yes.
in between your like
Yeah.
academic years. You
Yeah.
you do have experience. So I'm gonna say you probably have maybe at least 3 years of experience, like
Yeah.
actual work.
2.5 to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then after that, my own
Yep.
company now.
Yep. Yep. Let's do it. I mean, like part of it is like I if there's no better time than like now. Like if I'm
Yeah.
gonna fail, I better fail now. I better fail quick, and then I can
Yes.
like screw it and like get another job again. It's like
Yeah.
let me try it, give it like a year, and see
Mhm.
if it's good, keep going. If it's not, then I can go back and like no harm done. It's just a year, whatever. So it's
Yeah.
like part of it was like timing.
It's still experience as well. Like You
Yeah.
made your own company. Sure, it did maybe fail, but you made your own company. It's
Yeah.
still
You learn.
something. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a big lesson. Like, okay, so I had to do this. I had to file this. These are all I
Yeah.
had to do. I had to
Yeah.
manage people, assuming you had employees or not. In the beginning, like I had to manage people. I had to manage my clients, things like that. It's still a learning experience, whether it fails or not. So
100%.
that's
100%.
amazing. So
Thank you.
how long did you're very welcome. But how long did it take you to actually get your company started? From thinking, you know what, now's the time, let's go.
Yeah.
How long, how hard was that road?
It's such a blurry road for me because it was kind of a side project for a while.
Hmm.
Um, we launched it, I would say, 8 months after I quit. So like once I
Okay.
quit, it was just like let's build, let's like go all in, like make sure we have this like
Hmm.
what we call MVP, minimum viable product, um, out the door as soon as possible, so we can get feedback. We can start seeing like, are people like interested in this, or is it like womp? So we tried to get something out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Um, we did not have employees. It was just me and my co-founder for a long time before
Hmm.
we were able to make money. And the way that we did our business, let me be clear, is like coming from the valley, a lot of people raise money. So they'll raise money, raise enough capital to start a company, and from day one they can like hire and like bring on people to help them. My company is bootstrapped. So we did not raise anything. And so it was just me and my co-founder living off our savings
Hmm.
for over a year, more than a year, maybe two, I don't remember, 2 years maybe, of just me and him working on the product, pushing it out the door. And then we didn't start hiring until we could afford it,
Which is good because
which
some
like,
people.
yeah, pros and cons, right? I think like with money, you can like just hire people and like get really smart
Yeah.
people in the door and like try and see if you fail really quick. Like for us, it was more of a slow grind. Like,
Hmm.
I hope this works. Like push this rock like up this hill together. Um, but then we own the whole business. We are our own
Yeah.
bosses. Like going back to my dad, is like we own this. Nobody else is
Hmm.
telling us what to do. And then once we have the money, it's like, okay, we can do what we want with this money. We can hire who we want. We can build this business how we want. So
Hmm.
luckily, we've found success, and since then, like continued to hire people and kept going from there. But it was like, at any point in the early first year, second year, like it could have been just like, let's just like we did good.
Hmm.
Let's go back to a regular job. Um, but we didn't. We pushed through.
Push through, here we are.
Yes.
You said 2017, so it's my count
It's
is
been
almost
it's
6
been
years
it's been over 6 years since we launched. Yeah,
Over 6 years. Wow,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Congratulations. Happy sixth
Thank you,
year.
thank you.
Oh, well,
It's a long time, but it also feels fast.
yes, because people will say, it's 6 years isn't that long. Oh my God, you have no clue how long
It's
a
more than
year
high
can
school.
be. Yeah, exactly. That's a whole
Yeah.
primary school, first grade, sixth
It's
grade,
a 6 year old.
6 year old
Our
to
company
12.
is 6 years old. Yes, this is a 6 year old. Is a small child. Yes.
Yes, first grader, maybe,
Yeah,
hopefully.
yeah.
It, it's amazing though. Like a lot of people don't really are kind of afraid of opening the door of to the idea of building their own company because
Hmm.
safety or money, like the safety of
Yes,
having money is just
yes.
it might not be there for them.
Oh,
So
totally.
so
Oh, totally.
and you said your company from the start was bootstrapped. You were on your own, basically on your own
Yeah,
for the longest time, and then
yeah.
it took longer than did you expect to earn, or do you feel like it was too long that you didn't earn anything or you didn't
Yeah,
make any money or
yeah. I mean, let me first say that, like, yes, we were very fortunate to be able to be in that position to start a company this way. I think that was part of why we both worked at Facebook, was like, okay, if we want to be able to live and start this company, we need some sort of some amount of savings. And so because we both worked at Facebook for a while, it was like, okay, we feel like financially stable enough to take this risk. And then from there, like in terms of expectations, like I'm always this person that my expectations are like as low as possible. Like let me
Okay.
like
Okay.
not disappoint myself and just be like, I'm gonna fail. Let me just try this. And so it was just like, okay, I think my co-founder is different. I think he's very much like, no problem. And like
That,
we balance each other well that way.
okay. That's
But for
good.
me, it was just like, if we can make anything, if we can make a few dollars, like that would be cool. So I think like I exceeded my expectations just because they were so low. Um,
Which is great. Like,
yeah,
I feel like did that motivate you to work on this even harder? Because hey, it exceeded my expectations. Maybe this will
yeah,
do better.
yeah. I mean, like going back to my schooling, like I was always that achiever. Like I was always like
Mm.
trying to be that. I need to achieve. I need to get somewhere. So like that flows like straight into being a business owner. Is like I will do what it takes to find success here. And yeah, it worked.
It worked.
A
Here
lot
we
of
are.
luck. Like it's like don't get me wrong. It's like timing is a lot of things. It's like
Hmm.
knowing the right people, or it's like just launching in front of the right people and the right audience and the right place and time and everything. So it's a mix of all that, but at the same time, yeah, we worked for it.
I don't want to say that this is luck, but it's absolutely amazing that the opportunities opened up just right,
Hmm.
maybe not perfectly, but right enough. They aligned
Yeah,
enough for you to be able to launch it,
yeah,
succeed with
yeah,
your first year, and be able to actually earn money and then hire staff. Like,
yeah.
yes,
It's pretty wild. It's pretty. If I zoom out and think about it, it's like,
pretty wild.
whoa! Like I could not have seen. Yeah, I could not have seen this. I could not have foreseen this coming like 6 years ago. You know, um, and the day to day, I'm very like much still in it. I'm very much still like doing all the work that I need to do to keep this company going. But if I zoom out, it's like it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what we've been able to do.
Just the fact that the company's still up and running. You have
Yeah.
you haven't financially destroyed yourselves yet.
Exactly. Yet.
Pardon the joke, but you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so working your own company, like you can
Yeah.
work at any time at all if you want. Like you could work in the dead of night if you
Hmm.
can't fall asleep, or
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm assuming the nature of your job can or allows you to do that. Like you don't need to deal with people,
Yep.
so you can
Yep.
just work anytime.
Hmm.
Now that kind of brings me to another question, which is, would you ever or have you ever done like full remote job, like you're on a vacation while working as well?
Yes. Yes. That was our first 2 years.
Oh, damn.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was a vacation,
Okay.
but it was like, we were both living in San Francisco. We were living in one of the most expensive cities in the world, uh, and making no money. So we're like, okay, let's leave. And so we lived out of a suitcase for 2 years. We traveled around the world, working out of coffee shops. So it's not like that's why I wouldn't say it's a vacation, is because we weren't just like going and being tourists everywhere. We weren't lying around on a beach all the time. It was like we were very much trying to get our company off the ground, but we were doing that in a coffee shop like in Thailand. It was like
Oh,
change of background, and like our dollar goes way further in Thailand than it does in San Francisco. So yes, I love that flexibility. I would say I have that less now that I have a team and customers who are for the most part in North America.
mhm.
But at the beginning, it was like we have no responsibility to anyone right now, like, other than ourselves. Like let's live somewhere else. I
This
mean, so 2 years, it was awesome. I miss it.
like if only it would be
Yeah.
so easy to go back to doing that. Like
Yes. Yes. I would love to. I would love to.
like I was gonna say like I also live in Southeast Asia. Come over.
Yes. I loved it. I loved it.
Like you can honestly, with the amount of money you can earn from working at a with a US company or
I
even a
can.
any North American company, just
Yeah.
and then you just hop country, maybe not hop countries, that sounds bad, but oh dear, there are ants on my cup. Anyway,
Oh, Southeast Asia for you.
yeah, Southeast Asia. But honestly, I remember a friend telling me because um, currently that friend lives in Cali, yeah, California,
Yeah, yeah.
but he's also um, technically from a different country. Well, he grew up in
Mm-hmm.
the U.S., but his parents are migrants to the U.S., and he's
Mm,
considering going back to his parents' country,
mm.
but still being employed by a U.S. company because U.S.
Yes,
salary, working
yes,
remotely, and
yeah.
we're kind of hoping that he succeeds in getting that because I have been inviting this this person.
Yeah.
I have a habit of calling people children, especially if I know they're younger than me, even if it's just by a year. But I have been trying to get this person to
Yeah,
consider my deal, like live here for
yeah,
maybe at least 3 months and see
yeah,
how much you earn and
yeah.
save. And
Oh my
I'm
God,
telling
I
you,
can't even. Yeah, we were in Asia in May, and ugh, just coming back here is like, ugh, why, why do we live here?
it's both, I don't know, I guess
Pros and cons. Yes.
pros and cons because I know that there are a lot of opportunities in North America that are not present in
Oh,
a lot of
definitely.
people. Although, honestly, once you get the opportunity from North America, I know I have met quite a few nomads, like digital nomads, that
Yeah.
they immediately, as soon as they're hired, and they can work like full on at home, off
Yeah.
of their laptop, in their
Yeah.
backpack, they just fly off it to whatever vacation spot
I
they can
love it.
afford.
I love it.
It's
Yeah.
it's an idea, like guys, consider it. Like it's semi practical.
It's totally possible.
It's dreamlike but also practical, to be honest. If you live in a if you're employed by a country or by a company that's in a country that's a little bit more on the upper, you know, salaries, but
Yeah.
you live in a country that's lower, with the lower living costs, everything, it's it's doable. It's very doable.
It's very doable. I mean, and also like yeah, the nomadic life, like that. I mean, it's not for everyone, but I
Yeah, yeah,
also like love that life. Like being able to work in a different place every month was like so cool, and like being able to do work during the day, but then also like I don't know, go to the beach at night, go like
yeah.
explore
Night
and
swim.
explore a new city, like so cool.
Yeah. So just knowing your experiences since you've started your own company,
Yeah.
is there anything you miss about being just a regular employee working in
Yeah.
a regular office, stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, working in big tech, I was fed every day.
All right.
That is so nice. I can't. Um whereas, I have to feed myself. So spoiled. It's so like they do that so that you can spend as little of your time on feeding yourself and as much of your time on working, which makes sense. But I do miss that. But I think the biggest thing is like I have so much more responsibility as a business owner, especially one who has employees. Like I need to make sure they can live like a good life. And I feel so much weight on myself to enable that for them. And like working
Mhm.
at Facebook, I'm just like la di da, like this is my own life. Like just pay me a good salary and I can handle myself and like easy peasy. Like it's so
Mhm.
easy. Um, Starting your company is not
Not
it's
for
not for
everybody.
everyone.
Hmm.
It's a lot of responsibility. So I do miss like just being able to be like, whatever. I can't
Yep.
do that now. I can't do that now. No way. Yeah.
That's
But yeah,
very
those are the main things I would say.
that's very interesting that you actually feel like you have more responsibility being your own boss and having
Yes. Yes.
employees. Like
Yes.
my immediate thought is always taxes,
Oh God, don't even
taxes.
get an accountant. Don't trust
I
yourself with us. Don't. I won't trust myself.
I I work remotely. I've been
Yeah.
working remotely since I left the call center. Um,
Mhm.
been working for a friend, and although we did start as friends, she gives me like not just fair wage. She gives me
Yeah.
livable plus wage. Because
Yes.
she was surprised how cheap my labor is. She was
Are
like, "Wait, no, is this
you
really?"
sure?
Yeah, and she had to, because I refused to give her like the upper rates, because I was just
Yeah.
starting off. Like
Sure.
when she was asking me, I was just starting off. Like I
Sure.
just decided, you know what, I'm not gonna be employed by another company. If
Yeah.
since I am working remotely, must might as well just be an assistant,
Yeah.
and I am still a virtual assistant. And
Sure.
and she had her boyfriend research salary rates of people that do the type of job she wants me to do.
Yeah.
And she was like,
Yeah.
"No, you are not earning this. We're doubling this." I'm like,
Yeah.
"What?"
Get what you're worth. Like, don't discount yourself. What?
No,
You
well,
know?
okay. The only reason why I was discounting, because I was just
Yeah.
starting off. Like, let's see if we
Sure.
work together.
Sure.
Like, we're
Fake
friends,
it till
but
you make it. No, I
yeah,
get the friend part, but yes.
yeah, we're
Fake it till you
friends,
make
but
it.
like, do you like working with me or something like
Yeah.
that? And then
Yeah.
she was like, yeah, I already know I want to work with you. Like,
Yeah.
okay. And
Yeah.
I'm still working with her.
Don't ask
It's not
questions. Just
for
take.
her. Okay. She's like, you're not working for me, you're working with me. She absolutely
Yeah.
hates it when I
I
call
love.
her boss.
Oh, I hate that too.
I
I
love
hate that too.
I love
Ugh.
greeting her like, "Good morning, boss." She's
No,
like,
I hate
"No."
that.
She's like, yeah,
Yeah. Ugh. I don't like it either.
like, and it's just, I'm thankful. Like my honestly though, the person I'm most thankful for is my best friend, because that
Yeah.
idiot was the one who introduced me. Yes, he's an idiot, but I love him because he's the one who introduced me to my current employer friend.
Yeah.
And yeah, life has been good.
Yeah. No, I love that for you. I mean, like, yeah, like get what you deserve, like don't discount yourself. Like your time is valuable. Like, yeah, 100%.
All right. Well, Sarah, we have been going on, and I cannot believe we have been going on for like an
I
hour. I
know.
didn't
I
even notice
know.
that it's already been an hour. But
Yeah.
well, thank you though. I do have a question for you.
Yes.
This is like,
Yes.
because the point of Erudita, I did mention this earlier. The point of
Yes.
Erudita is free education or accessible education
Yes.
for all.
Yes.
What's your
Yes.
thoughts on that? What's your thought?
Like the concept itself, I think is super cool, and I think it's really impressive that you guys have been able to like bring together like experts, you know,
Mhm.
people with expertise and have them share that with people, because I feel like the education system, I mean, you know, I feel like I didn't really have these options growing up, but like I think education is changing, and even when I was in school, it just felt like the curriculum was always like outdated. Like people, like it's so hard to stay up to date. And then
Yeah.
you're teaching people who are going into the workforce things that are not really reliable anymore. And so like stuff that the fact that you guys can share like real world experience, especially from people who like might not have the opportunity to share this stuff because they're not actual teachers.
Mm.
These are just like normal people. So yeah, no, I think it's awesome. It's really cool. Yeah, power to you.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, that is okay. I do have kind of, maybe if we are going to invite you to be a teacher for maybe a week, what
Yeah,
would you teach? Like, what do you think would be?
interesting. I
Mm,
mean, like I can always talk about entrepreneurship, right? Like I
mhm,
can like that's just like what I do. Um, but on the other side, like I am really into like I like spending my time on things outside of work. Like I'm very much like a weekend is my weekend. This is my weekend. Like I'm not doing work. And so I
oh,
like doing things outside. Like I used to draw a lot. I do a lot of crafting now. Like that would be super fun to teach. I don't know. And something where, maybe it can spark something in someone else. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I think it's super cool.
All right. Okay. So, guys, team, if ever we want a graphic designer on our teaching staff, I don't know where you are in my screen.
Yeah, no
Woo!
worries.
Like, we have Sarah. Yeah,
Yes.
if we also want like a speaker for entrepreneurship, we have Sarah. Who else are we gonna look at?
Been there, done that, doing it.
Right?
Been there, doing it. Yeah.
Been there doing it. Startup though, been there, done that.
I
All
don't know if
right.
I'll ever be done, but we'll see.
Well, at least you started it and now it's going.
Yes, it's going. It is going.
Thank you so much, Sarah. This is the end of the formal interview, and we will
This
be
was
going
fun.
into
Thank you.
Discord. All right. All right, guys. See you.
Bye bye.